You know what I keep thinking about? That split second when your brain goes completely blank and your body just acts. Not what you think you do or what you hope you do, but what you actually do when someone's about to die and you have maybe 3 seconds to decide who you really are. Hey, good morning. I'm Steve coming to you from beautiful Wake Forest, North Carolina. I found two stories today that I absolutely had to share with you. One is about a software engineer from Holly Springs, North Carolina, who had to choose between staying safe and jumping into a hurricane flooded river. The other about commuters in Sydney, Australia, who are missing work because 40,000-pound whales have decided to turn rush hour into a nature documentary. Oh, and stick around. I got a dad joke so wonderfully terrible that your kids will love it and your spouse will, I don't know, roll their eyes again. Hey, these stories won't fix every problem, but they might change how you think about what people are actually capable of when everything goes differently. Eddie Hunnell was at a wedding rehearsal in September when Hurricane Helene hit. He's 57 from Holly Springs, probably thinking about whether his toast was too long or if he remembered to pick up his dry cleaning. Normal wedding stuff. Then the North Fork New River decided to do what rivers do during hurricanes, and it went completely insane. The water was moving so fast, it knocked a house clean off its foundation. And 66-year-old Leslie Worth had to jump out of her window in that house into the river, wearing a life jacket and hoping physics would be kind to her. Well, here's where most of us will call 911 and hope someone with the right training shows up. Eddie looked at the situation and climbed into a canoe. A canoe! During a hurricane! To paddle upstream against 8-mile-per-hour currents, filled with trees, furniture, and somebody's entire living room set. Well, it predictably didn't work. You can't paddle upstream against a hurricane-swollen river carrying half a neighborhood. That's not how water works, even if you're really, really, really motivated. So Eddie did what I hope I'd do, but honestly, I don't know if I would. He jumped out of that canoe and swam into the middle of the river. Think about that decision for a second. He's watching this woman get swept downstream with debris and house parts, and his plan A failed spectacularly. So he just gets in the water. He swims to her, he grabs her life vest, he tells her to float on her back and hold on to him. They got carried 600 feet downstream together before the river widened and calmed enough for him to swim them both to safety. 600 feet, that's 2 football fields of being at the mercy of a hurricane-flooded river, carrying someone else's kitchen table. Eddie Hunnell just received the Carnegie Medal. That's North America's highest honor for civilian heroism. And when you read about it, there's no big speech, no dramatic proclamations about courage or duty. Just a software engineer who saw someone who needed help and figured out how to help them. I keep thinking about that moment when Plan A didn't work and he had to decide, stay safe in the canoe or jump into the river during a hurricane. Most of us will never face that exact choice, but we all get smaller versions of it. Someone needs help. The easy things don't work. What do you actually do? Leslie Worth wasn't injured. Eddie was tired, but fine. And somewhere in Holly Springs, there's a software engineer who knows exactly what he does when everything goes sideways. The Carnegie Hero Fund recognized 16 other people alongside Eddie this year. 16 other people who had their own jump out of the canoe moment and decide to get into the water. Man, I love what we still do for each other. So picture this. You're on a commuter ferry to work in Sydney, Australia. You're kind of mindlessly scrolling through your phone, mentally rehearsing your excuse for why you're going to be 10 minutes late again to that meeting you forgot about. The boat slows down and then stops completely. You look up, ready to be annoyed about Australian public transportation, and there's a humpback whale the size of a city bus floating next to your commute like it owns the place. Well, this is happening right now in Sydney Harbor every single day. Winter means whale season in Australia, and 40,000 of these massive creatures have decided that one of the world's busiest harbors is their personal highway. And here's the part that broke me in the best possible way, because they're not just passing through, they're curious about us too. Dr. Vanessa Parate studies this at Macquarie University, and she calls it exactly what it sounds like, the humpback highway. 40,000 whales, each the size of a school bus, just drifting by like the world's gentlest traffic jam on a 10,000-kilometer journey from Antarctica to Queensland. And they've decided to take the scenic route right past downtown Sydney. But get this, Ben Armstrong runs whale watching boats, and he told reporters about whales that treat his boat like a little gentle bath toy. Picture a 40-ton animal rushing towards your boat, like a dog greeting its master at the gate. One whale hung around his boat for 40 minutes, just rubbing its fin against the side of the boat. Armstrong said it was like the whale thinking, oh, well, there's a boat I really like. Made me realize something I'd never thought about. They're not just following some evolutionary GPS. They're making choices. This whale chose to spend its afternoon checking out Ben's boat instead of whatever else whales do with their time. And here's the kicker. This is a conservation success story that's almost too good to believe. 60 years ago, there were maybe a few hundred humpback whales left. Humans had basically hunted them into extinction, and now there's 40,000 of them, and Sydney commuters are calling in late to work because of whale traffic jams. But success creates new problems. More whales means more boat encounters, more fishing net disasters, and climate change is moving their food around, so they're showing up in places where nobody expected baby whales to be born. Vincent Kelly traveled from Victoria, Australia, just to see the migration. He watched half a dozen humpbacks do aerial stunts for 2 hours straight, and then he said, I didn't expect to actually see a whale, but they were everywhere. Think about that for a second. Right now in Sydney, Australia, 5.5 million people live in a city where you might see a whale jumping out of the water while you're waiting for your morning coffee, where ferry passengers post videos of commuter whales like they're filming the neighborhood cat. The article I read said, it grounds you. It makes you realize there's a lot more out there than what we think there is in nature. And I just keep thinking about the ferry passenger, checking their phone, worried about being late, who looked up and saw something the size of a school bus pulling up just to say, hey there, friend. And just like that, your inbox, your meeting, your stress, all feel a little smaller and insignificant. And yes, I know the whales might be majestic, but that doesn't mean you're off the hook for the dad joke I promised earlier. If you know someone that needs a little reminder that people still jump in, or that whales still wave hello, send this their way. And if you stumble across stories like these in your own backyard, let me know at tapyournews.com. The best discoveries usually come from neighbors who notice things the rest of us miss. All right, I promised you a dad joke so bad, it might cancel out all that emotional depth. All right, ready? Here it is. How does NASA organize a party? They plan it. Get it? Plan it? Oh. Well, until tomorrow, stay curious, stay kind, and I'll see you then.